Hello, welcome or welcome back. Today we have Dirty Boxing 5 Houston final predictions. Listen, I know I already made a prediction video, but some fights were changed, a couple more were added. Some time has passed. I've just learned more about a lot of these fighters. I've learned a lot of information about these fighters. I've learned about them as more as like characters instead of just like people I only see footage of. So some character development going on here. I just want to kind of give you my rundown and what I believe are going to be the winners and losers, yada yada. I'm gonna start with the early prelims, main card, but just the thing about each. I think the main card's a bunch of setup fights to create stars, and it's a young promotion, so it's not a bad idea. The prelims, they're more close. They really are more close fights, like genuinely. And the early prelims are just like if you're a hardcore, you're gonna fuck with these. Anyway, get into the early prelims. We have Agbana versus Cannon, James Cannon. I don't know too much about Agbana. This was one of the fights that kind of got thrown on last second, so this is basically a short notice matchup as well for a light heavyweight bout. Since I don't really know much about Agbana and James Cannon is undefeated, I think he's about to turn 3-0 at this. I think he's gonna spaz on him, shake into a decision, and I think that he's just gonna do what he needs to do. I could, just spaz on him, find the finish. I don't know how he's going to do it. I just know that James Cannon is going to do it. Because every time I watch a James Cannon fight, he wins using pure will and never giving up and just spazzing on him. 100% spazzing on him. Dude, in his first dirty boxing fight, literally just threw a 1-2, shook, 1-2, shook, 1-2, shook. And all three of those 1-2s landed, which is crazy. And the opponent was genuinely getting like rocked. And, I feel bad for the opponent because it's James Cannon. I'm not saying James Cannon's a shit, dude. He's 2-0 in dirty boxing. I'm 0-0. So just putting that out there. But yeah, no more chit chat about this fight. I think James Cannon is going to figure it out via decision or finish in some way, shape, or form. Next fight, Desiree Yanis versus Rain Guerrero. Listen, these two people were on the Overdogs podcast, and I got to listen to Rain's story. I got to hear Desiree Yanis and just understand her sort of mindset. And, looking at fight footage of them too. Before I get into that, I'm talking about, Rain Guerrero, her kind of story. She got shot between the legs. Dude, go watch her Overdogs podcast, moment. It was pretty good to actually see. And I remember you can go look her name up on YouTube, and there's UFC like Brazil or something. A promo about her telling her about her story or whatever with her, abusive husband and in the past and stuff. Very sentimental, you know what I'm saying? Very impressive what she's being able to overcome. So nothing but respect to Rain Guerrero, seriously. But that does not win you fights, unfortunately, and that's my prediction here. I think Desiree Yanez is honestly and is honestly gonna finish Rain Guerrero. That's what I'm going with here. Just putting that out there. But also, these two are friends, and that's something you learn in the podcast too. So these two are here. I don't know how many. They didn't really mention how often they've sparred or whatever, But if they're friends, I'm gonna assume they've trained a good amount of times to where they kind of know each other. So that's gonna play an aspect into this fight as well. They might be a little like slow to start off. So if you're watching this fight thinking it's a boring women's fight, just let them cook real quick, and then I think it will start picking up in pace, and people will start landing as it's going. I could see it just going to a decision because that is what with just women's fighting is. But something about women's dirty boxing, bro. There are more finishes than you would think. Actually, I'm not gonna say that. There are not more finishes than you would think, but it's more brutal if that makes sense. There is more damage done, so it's more inclined to be a finish than women's MMA in my opinion. But yeah, I'm gonna go Desiree Yanez finding the finish here. Ren Guerrero, dude, she's decent, you know what I'm saying, but when you're telling me that, you're basically just a cardio kickboxing warrior and that's what got you into MMA or whatever. I think Desiree Giannis is gonna clean house, either make it obvious by decision or find the finish. Just Desiree Giannis winning somehow. Much respect to both fighters, though. I'm actually looking very much forward to this fight in particular. Uh, Speaking of a next fight, I'm looking to very, very much. Starting out the prelims, we have Sung Jung Lee versus Victor Cardoso. And dude, there's just some about Sung Jung Lee, bro. Like, unfortunately, I don't even. This kind of like on the whole grand scheme of things might bring him down as an individual the what I'm about to say, but don't let it, bro. Like he's I really hope he wins and wins by finish, and just I hope he's the next guy to take over the heavyweight division in dirty boxing. I've only seen one fight of him. It's a simple, just like one kind of 1-2 or one kind of like overhand or like whatever overhook, whatever you want to call it, sleeping dude. That's the only fight footage I've seen of him, like in the cage. I've seen him do power kick stuff. He looks crispy. He looks very powerful. He's really big. He is really big. When I say he's really big, he's really big. um, yeah, but there's just he has a certain aura. Shamil Gaziev. That's what I was trying to say. He is kind of like a Shamil Gaziev kind of aura to him, to where he's low key good with it, but he just like low key a little blobby. But that I don't even want that blobbiness to bring him down. That's what I was trying to say. I fuck with Sung Jun Lee. I'm a big fan. I hope that this goes nothing but great for him. Victor Cardoso is a tough opponent. Victor Cardoso is 2-0, but he has fought in some dogs and just lost by decision, bro. Or I think he got finished in one of them and lost the other one by decision. But he's a dog, dude. He can hold himself down. And I think Sung Jung Lee can just bring the power, bring the blitz, and find the finish. I'm going Sung Jung Lee KO. I don't know what round. I'm just gonna do it. First round, Sung Jung Lee KO. He just brings it to him. Victor Cardoso is bleeding. I could see him getting a knockdown into a TKO, and then actually just like you see Victor Cardoso just mangled on the ground. That's my dream prediction. That's what I'm going with. Sung Jung Lee, do not disappoint me, please. Next fight, Haskell Rhodes versus I forgot his name, but Muniz or Munoz, however you want to say it. When I was doing the research of these two, I was actually like enjoying it. Muniz is kind of still, I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's probably a pro now since he's fighting in Dirty Boxer. Maybe he's high level amateur, but I've seen his Muay Thai fights. He actually looks clean with it. Nothing but sportsmanship. That's all I gotta say for him. I'm very excited to watch this fight too. For that reason, to see how his stand up, comes in. It is Dirty Boxing rule set, so it is elbows and fists only, no kicks. So I think, but it's me saying that, I think that's his downfall because Haskell Rhodes is a boxer. And Haskell Rhodes is clean and he's fast. And I think he has power that can, add up on Muniz. So, unfortunately, my decision or my final prediction for this fight is Haskell Rhodes by finish in the first or second round. I could see it being a little close, being a little scrappy in the beginning, maybe slowing down after they, there's some damage done. But I think in the grand scheme of things, Haskell Rhodes is going to bring it home. Next fight, I got Bien Nguyen or Bien Nguyen. I found out how to pronounce it. I hope that's good. I really want to say it right. Versus Naomi Young. Listen, my initial prediction was Naomi Young playing the distance, finding it, battering it up, and then I did more research on Nguyen and saw a lot of her one fights or whatever, and saw that she's just nothing but comes forward, spaz on you. Technique goes out the window when she's in the firefight. And I think and I'm going back with my original prediction. I'm going with my Naomi Young by countering her all night and just adding it up and winning a clear decision. That's my honest prediction. But I don't want to count out Nguyen because she could just somehow spaz on him and clip Naomi and just do it. I don't think that's going to happen though because I think just every time B like splits his in like that, yeah, she's landing a little bit, but it's not like the technique is fully there to where the power can translate how it needs to, if that makes sense. So I don't think anyone's getting, KO'd, but I could see a knockdown from either or, just from, accumulation of shots landing, You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but I'm going to go Naomi Young. Also, why I'm choosing Naomi Young is just on the Overdogs podcast, they were talking to each other, man. B. Nguyen came in pretty, on the vibe of as if shit is sweet. Naomi Young did not come in like that. She came in there talking her shit, holding her ground. It was still respect at the end of the day. So that's the best part about all this. But I just think Naomi has that edge over her. And I think I could see, B kind of letting that just hit home a little bit to where she goes into the fight anticipating something and comes in pretty spazzy, if that makes sense. So I'm going Naomi Young by decision, working off counters and, just I think establishing the jab. I think that's what it really is going to do. I hope I can see her, jabbing into some sort of elbows, creating some damage on B, but who knows. Very much looking forward to this fight. Actually, I'm looking forward to this whole card, honestly, not going to lie. Next fight, Mancia versus Parasitis. I did some little bit of research on them. Mancia just is the same vibe as Jun Lee. Just I'm assuming he's Dominican. I could still be wrong on him. So sorry if I'm wrong. But after I see that Waldo follows you and you're a pretty small dude, I assume you come from, your blood comes from there. And you just kind of look the part, you know what I'm saying? But you know what I'm saying. But that's all besides the point. He comes in, he's heavy, he's got power. I think it's gonna translate. I could see him blitzing in and literally finishing Parasitis in the first round, or I could see but I don't want to count out Parasitis 100% because just from what I've seen of him, he looks calculated, he looks measured, like he has a good fight IQ, clean boxing combos, and I could he establishes himself if that makes sense. So, but I just think this is a heavyweight fight. I'm assuming I haven't seen a face off yet, but I'm assuming that Mancia is significantly bigger than him. Just maybe Parasitis is walking around at like 220 because he can't make 205 like on some shit, or just like this is a short notice fight, so he's just taking it to get a fight in or whatever. But I'm gonna go Mancia by first round blitz KO, just overwhelming him in the corner, just annihilating and assassinating him. It's over. Good night, Mancia, bringing it back to wherever. Until I find out, I'm just gonna say wherever. Next fight: Travis St. John versus Maurice Morris. Oh my God, bro! Nothing. And seeing this on the Overdogs podcast too. Nothing but respect between these two, and it's just crazy how like cordial they can be with each other, knowing what we're about to witness when they fight. It's gonna be a first round finish of some sort, unless they both are just scared to initiate because they know the firefight's gonna bring. But that just does not seem like either of them. I think Maurice Morris is gonna come in initially, just bring it. Travis is going to get clipped. He's going to go from trying to be composed to instantly seeing red. Going to start firing back, and that's when it's going to be literally fucking insane. Like, actually crazy. Do not miss this featured prelim, bro. They know what they're doing. Travis St. John is fucking crazy. Maurice Morris was fighting bare knuckle in a fucking triangle. He has nothing to lose. My final prediction, I'm going Maurice Morris by first round KO, finding it somehow. I could see him slipping something, countering, head movement, one more counter, basically double counter into a KO. I don't want to, overdo it or whatever because he could get clipped. But I don't know if that's exactly how it's going to go down. That's just how I could see it going down. But Maurice Morris, first round KO. Travis St. John, I fuck with you. You are so entertaining. You're like the Michael Chandler, bro, of dirty boxing, if that makes sense. You're so entertaining to watch, but you lose. Kevin Felipe, two people, Kevin Felipe and John Zay Silva, who fought both Travis St. John, hence why St. John is 0-2. Listen, Maurice Morris is going to knock out Travis St. John in the first round. Travis St. John, unfortunately, is going to become 0-3. That's not what I want. As a dirty boxing fan, I want Travis St. John to shine because I know the heart he puts on the line, but that is just not reality in my sad truth. Honestly. But yeah, that's it for that fight. Don't want to keep on repeating the same shit. Sorry. Next fight, Jordan Crano versus Zuniga. I'm gonna go with Crano. Like I said about the main card, I think a lot of these fights are like one-sided, pretty much a setup to create some sort of stars to establish forces in these divisions that don't really have something. So we're gonna start off with Jordan Crano versus Zuniga. We're going Jordan Crano. I could see him literally just finishing him or, taking it to a decision but making it obvious. The footage I see for Zuniga is like he is fighting amateurs, essentially. Like I saw an old white dude that probably looked like 35 that just like looked like he had, little to no muscle on him. He KO'd him. He looked clean. It was nice. Listen, these are highlights. He's finishing these kids. And then I saw him spar a black dude and drop him with a hook, and then dude could barely recover. So Zuniga could fluke Crano. That is completely on the table here. Do not write that off at all. But I'm going to go with the decorated Jordan Crano. I'm pretty sure he's a K1 champion or whatever. I think he's just going to make it obvious, like I said. Next fight, Rakeem Cleveland versus Zach Palga. On the Overdogs podcast, Zach Palga was talking about how, Rakeem Cleveland doesn't really have that much footage because both of his fights went by quick. I'm pretty sure he fought Jairzinho on Jairzinho's initial fight in Dirty Boxing, lost by finish, obviously. And then beat some tall, hillbilly-looking dude in the first round by Spaz KO. KO'd him, though, it was pretty nice. But I think Zach Palga is going to just do what he does and might even just finish him in the first or second round. This could be – because I think Cleveland's going to get tired, dude. He's big. He's low-key clean with it, but either he's got to spaz and find the finish. Otherwise, I do not see him outpacing or dictating the pace in any way, shape, or form against Zach Pauga, someone who's been in the UFC, has more experience. Sorry, both of these guys have dirty boxing experience, but like I said, Rakeem Cleveland's is like more just like fast paced until someone gets finished. The Jarzinho fight was a little bit chill, but he still got finished. He's 1-1. I'm not too sure on Zach Pauga, but I'm just going Zach Pauga by finish or decision. Honestly, I don't even think a decision. I think this is a finish. I see it. The damage adds up quick. Zach gets tired. Not Zach. Rakeem gets tired, and Zach finds the finish. Simple as that. Next fight, Jonze Silva versus Kevin Felipe. Another kind of throw up, I think. Just, like I was saying earlier about the Travis St. John fight. They both fought Travis St. John. Jonze finished him in the second round. It was too close for comfort, though. Just saying. And then Kevin Felipe kind of made it obvious in the first round. So I'm going to go with Kevin Felipe here. Establishing himself over Jonze Silva. Honestly, I could see him KOing him in the first round. Silva's chin, it's obviously, I don't want to say light to the touch, but you know what I mean. It's a little rocky. It's a little iffy. And I think Kevin's going to expose that and find the finish as well. I think we could see a lot of finishes on this card. That's why I'm very much looking forward to. I'm very excited for this. Decent matchmaking. I'll leave it at that. Anyway, Kevin Felipe finding it, beating up Jonze. Maybe Jonze to gas out a little bit from the pace that Kevin tries to keep up and, finds it. So, and then the co-main event, this is a new matchup as well. Not new. Ben Willis is supposed to fight Raulian Paiva. And then Paiva pulled out, and I never heard or seen anything of it, bro. I literally looked at his Instagram. He looked fat. Not fat, but, not like he was in camp at all, any way, shape, or form. So I have a conspiracy theory that I don't know is true, but, business is business. Business is business at the end of the day. That they were just using Paiva's name as like a good matchup for this. Just for him to pull out last second for them to put in another, someone like USA saying, bro, who's going to get fucking murdered in 30 seconds. That's my prediction. Ben Willis is bringing it home. He's going to assassinate USA saying live on YouTube. And I feel bad. They better be paying him a bag. Imagine, all right, I could be completely wrong in my conspiracy theory. Could be wrong. And, Paiva, something really did happen. And then this really just is what it is. Dude, no matter who you are. Dude, all right, anyway, I'm just going to say, like I said on the other video I made of this exact fight, of the new co-main. If I have to go to Brand Risk Promotions and see you boxing for any sort of, footage to see if I can understand you as a fighter, and I see you on, like I said, Brand Risk or whatever, and you're fighting Ben Willis, I'm going to Ben Willis 100% of the time. First 30 seconds, he's going to assassinate, what's his name, Brian Kelly or something like that? I don't even know. USA saying he's going to kill him. So, if you want to see that happen, watch. It'll be on around probably like 10:30 maybe. I don't know. Anyway, and then we go to the main event. Jessie Jess versus Paula Bittencourt. This is pretty obvious. I think it's going to be a nice layup. I don't think this is going to be close at all. If it is, that is insane, and I, be more entertained, and that would be the better outcome for me personally, because we all know Kat Nelson really deserves this, but I'm not going to, dig into them that hard about it. I'm going to stop giving them the noogie, you know what I'm saying? But, for this fight, I think Jessie Jess, the damage, the elbows, everything, the boxing combos, the stepping in and out, literally everything about her boxing and elbows is going to make the difference here. I think Paula Bittencourt, I don't think her striking's too crazy. And I think that Jessica Rose Clark is honestly just like levels above her. And it's going to be obvious. And listen, she could find the finish into a TKO. I could see Paula Bittencourt just eating too much and like kind of giving up after she gets knocked down and Jessica gets her a little bit of ground and pound until the ref separates them, and she just doesn't get back up. I could definitely see that happening, but I don't see Paula winning in any way, shape, or form unless she somehow flukes a KO over Jessica Rose Clark, which just is not gonna happen unless she like somehow just throws a head kick in the midst of all this. That's literally the only chance she has of winning this fight. Like I said, this main card is mostly like setups to kind of create stars or whatever, but stop mentioning the Kat Nelson thing. Really wanted to there, but. It is what it is. That's what we got. That's it for this card. Jessie Jess by decision or, I guess TKO technically from ground and pound. And then, Paula doesn't get up. But that's it. I appreciate y'all. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and tune in, bro, on Friday. I'm so excited. I'm so excited for this card. Take care.